returning from my zero-depth vaginoplasty surgery in 2022. I celebrated Intersex Awareness Day, feeling like I could finally take pride in being intersex, and I got this intersex pride flag here. And it occurred to me that there's basically no representation for intersex people in mainstream American media. There are some groundbreaking intersex characters in Freaks and Geeks and Faking It, but there's virtually nothing else outside of TV, and even then, TV representation tends to be limited. There are a few degrading jokes in Dollhouse and Friends, and past that, pretty much nothing else.
She can ID the man in charge.
Or the woman.
Or hermaphrodite.
By the way, hermaphrodite is a slur for intersex. We don't use it.
We started a rumor.
Not rumor.
You were the hermaphrodite cheerleader from Long Island?
Oh,
In Weird Al's rambling monologue Albuquerque, there's the one-nostriled man, and that's a grotesque caricature.
So finally I go over and I open the door, and just as I suspected, it's some big fat hermaphrodite with a flock of seagulls haircut and only one nostril. Okay, I should probably stop here and apologize for using the word hermaphrodite. I understand that today is considered a slur, it's derogatory. When I wrote this song in the 90s, I was under the impression it was more of a medical technical term. All I was trying to say was that this character happens to have a completely functional set of both male and female organs, as well as a flock of seagulls haircut and one nostril. So I apologize, and I hope I cleared that up. So anyway.
And, yeah, that's basically it. Now, fortunately, I'd grown up with the androgynous character Ted in the webcomic El Goonish Shive by Dan or Dana Shive, non-binary author. But that character was kind of accidentally intersex. The author-illustrator was just struggling to draw a boy who was coded as Japanese American, and the character came out androgynous, and then the author just kind of went with that and made the character an androgynous character, and effectively made them intersex by accident. And for me, that was great representation, but it was kind of just there as an accident. It's not really an intersex character. It's not really representation. Where is the intersex representation? If you Google it, you'll find a lot of junk that isn't really intersex representation. Intersex people are so desperate to find representation that they tend to count a lot of stuff that isn't really that. It's an androgynous metaphor, like Stevani from Steven Universe, a combination of two dyadic, non-intersex characters, or you have the angels from like Constantine or other Christian media. Castlevania anime has this homunculus hermaphrodite thing. Comic books have these alien god characters. Not just Loki, but I think there's a character from the Superman universe who could shift gender. That's cool, but that's not intersex representation. There are well-defined intersex medical conditions, and no one is writing about them. There is a near-media blackout on intersex characters. Why? I mean, people are familiar enough with the concept to make hermaphrodite jokes, but it's just considered too obscure to talk about. At the same time, we have these characters who are always exceptional in Hollywood. There's a weird divide where writers are kind of fine with making androgynous characters, but at the same time, they're not real people. They're metaphors for how men and women interact in society, or for how gay or trans people exist when you can't explicitly talk about them. Intersex people are abstracted into a metaphor, and then that metaphor isn't even given to intersex people. There are disputed ways of measuring the prevalence of intersex people in society, but the commonly accepted statistic is greater than that of redheads, Jews, and Mexican people. I decided to call attention to this severe lack of intersex media representation by reviewing what media does exist. As far as I can tell, there have only been about 35 narrative movies featuring intersex subject matter that reflects real-world conditions. And less than half of them are actually available to be watched, and a lot of them have to be tracked down. These are obscure films from different countries, and most of these didn't even make it to physical media, or are basically lost media. Imagine if all of the cinematic representation that existed of you, including bad representation, was about as many films as in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and you couldn't even see all of them, because a lot of them are just lost. They never made it to physical media, they're not available on streaming. That is the sorry state of affairs for intersex media representation. In October 2024, there was a groundbreaking, tremendous instance of intersex representation as simply an ending twist of the Catholic political thriller Conclave, which is still something that falls off of most people's radar. However, there's one film you probably know, The Ring. The film about the videotape that curses people and the murderous ghost girl who crawls out of the TV. That girl is intersex in the book series that the film is based on, and she's not explicitly said to not be intersex in the film, so you might think that she could be intersex. And she is explicitly said to be intersex in a few obscure foreign adaptations of the book series. That character is the most prevalent intersex character in American media. Not even said to be intersex in her film. TV is somewhat better with the Freaks and Geeks character, a character on MTV's Faking It, a recurring character on Will and Grace that was made intersex in a throwaway gag. Books, fiction, is a great place to find intersex representation where intersex authors can express their own stories into literature, somewhat obscure but still obtainable. I'll mostly review the visual media that's easy to consume and clip for YouTube, but I'll try to cover some intersex books as well. My only real rule will be this: actual intersex representation. No gods, no aliens, no angels, no novel genetic manipulation, all except ghosts in the case of The Ring, because Sadaka's intersex condition is not treated as the outlandish element in this circumstance. No combinations of dyadic characters, like Stevani and a few others. No metaphors, only actual intersex characters. Consider this a plea for better representation. If you're involved in storytelling at all, please consider adding an intersex character. I'll have some thoughts about what makes good representation, but at this point, the intersex people are starved for anything at all. If you're looking for diversity points, something new, a little unique twist, please add an intersex character. We could really use it. For my first entry in this review series, I'll cover the best intersex narrative film that I've come across, the groundbreaking 2024 intersex crime drama Ponyboy, which I was fortunate enough to see as part of the 2024 Seattle Queer Film Festival.
Thanks, Ponyboy.
How do you know my name? Right.
To support this series, please subscribe to my Patreon. I only ask for $2 from each person. Each patron gets early access to each video.